Hello and welcome to the featured news of 23rd June 2021. My name is Harsh Singh, and in this featured news we bring you an important article related to tourism sector. Now, tourism is a growing industry in India. Over 9% of GDP contribution and 8% of employment through tourism is what India gains, right? India is a diverse country with a lot of beautiful geographic diversity. Which country has got deserts, mountains, backwaters, green spaces, forests, and high altitude areas and places which have got snowfalls? Which all countries do you find with such diversity? And this is what makes India very unique in terms of the tourism potential India has. Now, one important thing that Indian tourism industry goes through is seasonality. That means, for example, beaches. Now, beaches attract tourism only in the winters because those are the times when it is good. It is a good season to go to the beaches, right? Then snowfall in North India, that happens only in winters. So there are specific times when tourism happens at specific places. And this is where India wants to introduce diverse forms of tourism in the country so that the economy is retained and strengthened through tourism, right? So seasonality, to counter seasonality, this article talks about diversifying tourism in various ways. What are the ways? For example, medical tourism. For example, rural tourism, wellness tourism. And then we have MICE, right? Important form of tourism in MICE by organizing important conferences, exhibitions, incentives, right? Meetings. So these are the important ways India can diversify in tourism. So this article speaks of an increased demand in medical tourism all throughout the world, right? There are countries where in America and Europe, the medical treatment is very costly. India has also gained access to important equipments for medical tourism sector, medical industry, and also expertise in the whole sector. For example, we have gained expertise over transplantation of human organs, liver, heart, etc. And there is a lot of tourism being attracted from Middle East, from Central Asia, right? And therefore, medical tourism gains a lot of traction. Therefore, we have to increase medical tourism. Now, the article also talks that domestic tourism is something that will grow very, very fastly after the corona crisis recedes, right? The article also says that we have to start with South Asian tourism, right? South Asian tourism means we have to start with the economy of the South Asian countries first. So Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, we have to start inviting them. Now, and then we can go to the countries in Southeast Asia. Now, religious tourism is also an important segment of it. For example, the Buddhist circuits, right? In Bodh Gaya, Sarnath, and Nepal. Now, people from Japan, South Korea, Southeast Asia like Vietnam, Malaysia, Cambodia, they all can come to India and then be a part of this tourist circuit. So this is what the article mentions. Swadesh Darshan is an important scheme under which we can initiate more tourism activities, right? The coastline, India has got a very wide coastline, right? 7,500 kilometers in length with innumerable beautiful beaches and islands like Lakshadweep and Andaman Nicobar. So tourism can be prospered in the country, but it must be done in a very sensible and holistic integrated manner. So this is where the article speaks about 3 specific ways in which we can initiate this tourism. Now, first tourism that this article talks about is the rural tourism in the country, right? Now, let me give you an example. You must have already been a part of the rural tourism, but let me introduce this again to you. Jaisalmer, right? In the rural area of Jaisalmer, local people show the local culture, right? They make people sit in the desert area. There is camel, and they bring them to the desert area and they make them participate in the singing and dancing and participate in the whole cultural feast of Rajasthan. So this is rural tourism. There's another form of rural tourism we see in Meghalaya, right? Specific to Meghalaya, where this place is called as Mauni Long. Mauni Long was also awarded the cleanest village in Asia, the whole Asia. This is a part of Meghalaya near Bangladesh border site, right? So this place attracts tourism because of its ecological value. So this is rural tourism of the local area, right? Similarly, there are tourisms for hospitals, the 5-star hospitals in India, Fortis, Apollo, Escort, Medanta, right? The best of the hospitals in India. And then we have Vellore, CMC Vellore, Jipmer in Pondicherry, and Chandigarh, PGI Chandigarh, right? Right, this is another form of tourism. And then we have MICE tourism. Now this is where we have to start working on. What is MICE tourism? MICE stands for meetings, incentive, then we have exhibitions and important conferences. Do we have such, do we have organizations where we could gather 7,000 to 10,000 to 15,000 people? We do not have such big auditoriums and halls. Now, these halls are not only the places where tourism will happen. Tourism will happen through good transport infrastructure. Tourism will happen through great hospitality sector. Tourism will happen through very good food and food business, right? So these are the various components. The whole integration has to work together. So this is where the article says that the government is trying to promote such things. For example, we need digital technologies. Why? Now, if I want to book a tourism, rural tourism spot in Jaisalmer, can I book it when I am settled in America? So digital technology is required. We need urban mission to cooperate with this. Why? Because suppose transportation has to be done to that rural area. How will it get done? We will need vehicles, we will need road transport, we will need guides. So we will need such a certain urban infrastructure also present there. So this is what is called as a holistic development of the whole scheme together, right? So governance has to be very, very active, proactive here, right? So it is not, medical tourism and other forms of tourism are not only about bringing in money and treating them, right? If they stay there for a longer time, it is like hosting a guest. It involves all the aspects to help them simplify their experience in the country, right? So heal in India, this is the word used for medical tourism, heal in India. Now, not only these hospitals, but also look at yoga. Places in Uttarakhand, Rishikesh, etc. are very popular for yoga. What about naturopathy and homeopathy, etc.? These healing centers are present in Kerala backwaters. So alternate form of tourism is also present in the country, right? So India must promote its brand. This is what the government is trying to do through this, to digitalize the whole process, right? To make it easier for the people, the foreigners, to be part of this tourism industry. The visa norms must be relaxed further, right? Now, what about MICE, Meeting, Incentive, Conference, Exhibition? Now, India has got a very small share of this MICE industry, right? Only 1% of such conferences are organized in India. What about the film, for example? Why does America only host the Oscar shows? Why does only America host? There's around 6,000 members who are participant in the Oscar shows, right? Why does America only host it? Why do only big countries host such events? India can also host such events. For that, we will need infrastructure in specific cities. We will need those facilities, food facilities. We will need transportation. We will need such kind of big airports. We will need such organizations, right? MICE organizations to hold this. And this is how Meet India can be successful, right? This is where places in Middle East, for example, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, right? These people, Riyadh, they are these cities, they are doing very well, right? So this is what India must start, Meet in India. So this is what the article speaks of. Now, India ranks very well in terms of the Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index, right? Released by World Economic Forum, as much as 34th rank in 140 states, 140 countries, right? It is because India has got a very good cultural history, historical context, right? We have got diversity, we have got peace-loving people, right? What is required is to diversify ways in which we can invite people, right? Because our tendency is always to invite more people and treat the guest as God. So these are more avenues in which the article says India can promote its tourism industry, right? So what you got to do is note down important things like MICE, important keyword like MICE, Meet in India, right? And then medical tourism, right? Note down these examples of Ayush, right? The hospitals, the Kerala alternate form and Uttarakhand alternate form. For example, the Uttarakhand has yoga and Kerala has got naturopathy. So healing in India is the word. That is the keyword for you. After that, note down the examples of rural tourism that I gave, right? For example, Maunilong and Jaisalmer. So these are some things that will help you write a beautiful answer on this, right? So urban mission, right? Digital technology transformation and governance, right? So these are some things you can note down. And some important fact statistic that I mentioned was the growth of tourism in India, 9% of GDP contribution and 8% of jobs in India through tourism. And this is how tourism is very valuable. Now, in the next article about tourism, we will also bring you impacts of Corona and tourism. Thanks for watching.